It's the Daylight Midnight Show.
Hello and welcome to the Daylight Midnight Show. My name is Greg and you might need a pen and a bit of paper for this episode. I'll explain why shortly. I'd also like to say, you probably won't be able to realise this, but I am filming this in daylight. It's just incredibly dull outside, so I've had to put as many lights on in here as possible, and it might be giving it the effect that actually I'm filming it after dark. I'm not, it's still daylight, it's just a terrible, dull November day here in the east of England. And I'd also like to say, I think we've now kind of caught up with each other. I had some other work come in, so I wasn't here to do any filming for a couple of weeks. So I've done a few extra shows in a few days, and I think now we're back on target, where if I do one a week, that will take us up to the end of the year. I think I've got my maths right on that. And I have to say, it's been really nice doing these more often, which means I might think about that with kind of expanding it and making it more frequent for Series 4 if we do that in the new year. But then, you know what? I quite often have these little ideas about things I might do, and I end up not doing any of them. So we'll wait and see on that one. Right, a rhyming couplet to start the show with then. The rhyming couplet used to be the contents of the show, but now it's at the start. I just don't know which way to go. Something else I might have to think about if we ever get round to having a production meeting at the end of the series. The rhyming couplet used to come at the end of each show in Series 2, and it would be a rhyming couplet about the things that had happened in the show. And I decided to move it to the start just to mix things up a little bit, but I don't always know what's going to happen in the show, so it's not like I feel a bit lost with doing the rhyming couplet, but we'll stick with it for now. And we'll also stick with our quiz, so let's hurry up because I'm wasting your time when you could have been working out the answer. And I've also just remembered I didn't set the timer either. Let's chuck the phone away and don't worry about it. I'll aim for 10 minutes and we'll see what happens. So every week I will set you a clue that will guide you to a mystery object. If you get the answer correct, you award yourself a prize. And for security purposes, so that no one can cheat, DM the Daylight Midnight Monkey will be guarding our expensive display cabinet, so I know no one is getting in to check what the answer is. So we'll just go through the usual fun and kerfuffle. First time. We're getting better at this stuff. So the clue for this week is this: bigger than a toe, smaller than a tree, and you might be wearing one now. And don't forget, because the objects in the clue start with the letter T, that means the answer also starts with the letter T. Bigger than a toe, smaller than a tree, and you might be wearing one now. Have a think about that, write down what you think the answer is, and I'll let you know right at the end of the show. We have a bit more friendly feedback, which is becoming a bit of a thing. This. Please don't subject us to seeing you without a shirt on again. Looking at your chest was like seeing a dead spider at the bottom of a shower tray. We are in the hands of the randomness. That's why it's called outfit roulette, but I have to say on this occasion, I agree with you. Seeing me without a shirt on under the jacket is not something we want to repeat at any point during this series. Something else. I'm worried about DM falling off his perch. Why don't you Velcro his bum to the radiator? 2 words for that. Animal cruelty. And a little bit of feedback from me as well. I know I said I wasn't going to mention my dental problems again. However, I am still getting used to the massive gap in my mouth where there used to be a tooth. My gum is still settling down, and the wisdom tooth that I had to have repaired still hasn't kind of realigned itself properly. So that's why you're getting some weird things happening with my voice and little clicks, and I'm having things like I keep having to stop every so often because there's a build-up of saliva. Sorry for putting that image in your head, but it is the truth of where we are at the moment. My presenting style is being greatly influenced by the new layout in my mouth that I'm still getting used to. So there's things happening where my cheek is going in between the teeth, stuff's getting stuff where it should. I'm still getting used to it, so little weird noises are going to keep happening. That's it for the layout then, so let's move on to the Cartoonimator, which now has its own theme song. Guy Fawkes Night this month, he was killed for being a traitor. Let's see what gets thrown out by Greg's Cartoonimator. We'll stick with that for now. So the Cartoonimator sucks in all my energy, the way I'm feeling, the way I'm thinking, things that have happened to me during the week, and it spits out a cartoon, badly drawn, every week, and I can show it to you, explain what it represents, and then we stick it on the door of delights where it will live resplendent for the next 7 days. And this week it's that. And that's not a deformed palm tree, that is a firework, because for the first time in over 3 years I got to go to a proper fireworks display a couple of days ago, and I do love fireworks. And it always, for me, it's always like a mental switchover point from the work I've been doing before and then the build up to Christmas. And I'm sorry to mention it early in November, but those of us that work a lot around the Christmas period, you do really start ramping it up now. So it's nice to have that fireworks back where you go, fireworks night is over, I'm going to think about Christmas without hating myself for doing it. And the reason there's a steaming mug there as well is while we were at the display, I decided to buy a mug of hot chocolate. And it was incredibly sweet, to say the least. It's very nice, but this year I've cut down on how much sugar I have because I've got to an age where you have to do that kind of thing. And this hot chocolate, I mean, you could have stood the spoon up in it for about a week without it dissolving. So for the next 20 minutes or so after having it, my son was worried that I was either drunk from a spiked hot chocolate or about to have a breakdown or both. So me and sugar, not a good thing, but it was damn good hot chocolate. So that's going to live up there for a little while. And doesn't it look nice? It's sitting next to our lovely flag of Kiribati. So right, the pen and paper that I hope you went and got then. Last week, was it last week? A few days ago, I did the which fish are we? And I didn't put the fish up. That's what I need to do for next time. The fish, clownfish, up on the wall. Right, mental note for that one. But we did that little quiz, and another bit of feedback was that someone said, I like it when you do those little quizzes because they ask you questions about yourself and we learn more about you. So I thought, okay, let's give you a chance to learn more about me and give you a chance to do your own little quiz as well. So what I've done is come up with something called the Get to Know Greg quiz, also known as the Random Objects ID quiz. So I've just grabbed 3 random objects from the house, each of which has sort of personal significance to me or my recent history. So I'm going to show you it, ask you a question about it that links to me, and give you 3 possible answers. So you write down your answers, and then I'll let you know at the end what they all were. You'll learn a little bit about me, you'll get your quiz matter working around, you know, those little grey cells that work on the quizzes, and if you're so inclined, you can award yourself prizes based on how many questions you get correct. So let's crack on then, and the first object I'm going to show you is this. Now, I bought this in the summer. This is a game called Shut the Box that you might be familiar with. You can play it on your own, you can play it with other people, but I'd completely forgotten this game existed. And then it was brought out at a family party during the summer, so we bought one of them because it's really handy to travel with, really good fun. And what I'd like you to try and work out is, I bought that recently, but where did I first encounter, discover and play the game Shut the Box? Where was I when I first had a go at that game? So you have 3 options to choose from. Was it A, in a small village pub in the Lake District in the 1990s? Was it B, in a small family hotel in France in the year 2000? Or was it C, at a summer work barbecue while I was working in radio? So they're the 3 options you have to think. I'll give them very quickly again. So A is a small village pub in the lakes in the 90s. B is a small family hotel in France in the year 2000. And C was a summer work barbecue while I was working in radio. Write your answer down, leave a gap underneath it for question 2, which involves this. Which has pride of place in my office. This is a nice little painting. This is an original. And it was done by a lady that I think still lives in Norfolk. But what I'd like you to work out is, how did I acquire this particular painting? So the 3 options are this. A, it was a thank you gift for doing a charity fundraising auction. B, it was left in a cupboard by the previous owner of the house. Or C, I stole it from a library when I was drunk one lunchtime. And library is one of those words that I struggle to say. So these are the options. Was it A, this was a thank you gift for doing some charity work? Was it B, left in a cupboard by the person that owned the house before us? Or C, did I steal this while drunk from a local library? Write down your answers while I introduce you to the character involved in clue 3, or question 3. Who is this little fella? This is a baby tapir. It's not a real one, it's a cuddly one. You can tell it's a baby because it's got stripes. They lose the stripes as they get older. Tapirs are one of my favourite animals. So this was a birthday present from my sons a number of years ago. But what did I name this and why? Was it A, Yoda, after the character from Star Wars? Was it B, Yorick, after the character from Hamlet? Or was it C, Yeet? Because that was a very popular word at the time. So is this guy called Yoda because of Star Wars, Yorick because of Hamlet, or Yeet because that was a buzzword at the time? So I'll give you a few seconds just to come up with your final formula of what the 3 answers are going to be. You should have 3 letters, A, B, C, B, A, C, whatever they might be in combination. make a final decision, write that down, and be honest, because if you get the answers right, you can award yourself prizes. And I will give you the answers right away. So we won't take too long on this. Shut the Box then was answer A. I first found this game in the Lake District in the 1990s. I had some very good friends that moved up there for work, and I used to go and see them regularly, and we'd go hiking and camping. Just generally enjoying being around the Lake District. And there's a lovely local village pub, and there was a very big version of this that someone locally had made, and we used to do it as a drinking game for who would have to buy the next round. And then I forgot about it for 20 years, and then it resurfaced this year. So there was answer A you wanted for question 1. Question 2 was all about this painting, and shame on you if you thought criminal activity was involved. This was also answer A. It was a thank you gift for doing a charity fundraising auction. I was the auctioneer for a big auction, and one of the ladies from the charity had painted this and gave it to me as a gift, which I was absolutely delighted about. And finally, I introduced you to my little friend, the Tapir, and the correct answer for this was B, Yorick. He is named Yorick after the character in Hamlet, because on the same birthday, I got a very nice hardback copy of the script to the Shakespeare play Hamlet, and it just seemed appropriate. So the answers you should have got if you know me well, although why would you have a clue about those? A, B. If that was the combination you got, well done to you. You know me very well indeed. So with that, let's do outfit roulette then and decide what I'm going to be wearing in the next edition of the show. So we use the randomness of the Rubik's Cube. I'm not looking. You'll notice, by the way, that I have managed to solve the Rubik's Cube. I just had a weird moment where I think I had a weird moment and forgot how to do it, and then when I picked it up again I remembered, which is great. Reminds me of when I forgot my own PIN number when I owed £80 petrol, but I'll tell you about that another day. So it's blue then, so blue column next week. I will be wearing a t-shirt. With that we will go with column yellow, which seems to come up quite often. Column yellow is my golf jacket. This is good so far. I don't think any of these have come up before so far in the series. And finally, to accessorise all that, we will have whatever is in orange. And orange is my flat cap. So it will be a t-shirt, golf jacket, and flat cap. That's what I'll be wearing next week. Just to finish off this quiz show special, the answer to the quiz then that we set at the start: bigger than a toe, smaller than a tree, and you might be wearing one now, especially if you've just got home from school when you're watching this. And you've still got your uniform on, although if you're watching it at midnight when it goes live, I hope you're not just coming in from school. But the correct answer this week was a tie. I'll see you next week. Have a great 7 days.